Sometimes when you work on your game with tile maps, you may find that you have problems with the edges of your tiles. So we can see here how the background color will show through depending on how my character is moving. So that's unfortunate. That's not what we want. And what is happening is we're having issues with the edges of the tiles. This will sometimes happen when we have a tile map that has spacing between the tiles. So looking at this map, we can see that we do have spacing between the tiles. They are 1 pixel spaces on here. So then that is causing a problem. Fortunately, there is a solution. So Tile-Extruder is a tiny little project that allows you to eliminate those gaps by extruding your tile map so that it takes the edge pixel for each tile and extends it out, effectively duplicating it. And then when you go to render the tile, you still render your tile at the same size. So effectively the artwork for the tile of, say, a 16 by 16 pixel tile now becomes 18 by 18, but in our JSON we still let it be 16 by 16, and then we don't end up with any of this gapping showing up. So this can be run by first using Node. So you do have to have a node installed on your computer. And then once you've done that, you can use the Node package manager, and you could just do a global install so you don't have to worry about installing it per project. If you don't want to do that, then you can move to the directory you're working in and use npx as well. That's another way of going about it. Once you've installed it, and just if you don't have Node installed, click on Node and go install it on your computer, do a quick search, and you'll find instructions on how to install Node on both Mac and Windows or Linux or whatever platform you happen to be running. Once Node is installed, you install Tile-Extruder, and then to make it work, all you have to do is this simple line where you tell Tile-Extruder the size of your tile, the input tile set you're working with, the output tile set, and it makes the file for you. It really is that quick. Then you will have to modify your JSON to take into account that you've now made things bigger. If we're working on a project like the one that I showed here with the 1 pixel spacing there, oops, wrong option, then we will have to make sure that we put in the spacing parameter, and by default it would be 0, but if I look here, if I want to do it, -- spacing and how big that spacing is, in our case it will be 1. So knowing this, and our margin is 0, so we don't have to put that, so I'm going to copy this version of it into my project. And what I want to do is I want to get it written here so then I can copy paste it and look at it, because when I'm in command line I don't quite have that same option. So I'm just putting it in as a comment, then I will copy that, but we can look. So it's Tile-Extruder, we have our tile width. Well, looking in Photoshop, I know that my tiles, if I look in my properties, when I draw a rounded tile, oh, missed when let's try again. Now I'm exactly on a tile, and we can see a tile is 16 by 16 pixels in size. So looking back over here, not 8, change that to 16. We leave this at 16. Now our input, the input we'll be working with, it's not in tile sets. I will have taken my command line and navigated to this project folder, so I will be inside that assets folder where the tile map is. So all I have to do is put the name of that, and it is simply tile map. And the output, well, I'm just going to let the output be tile map extruded. Remembering that we do want to put that spacing in, so -- spacing, space 1, and really, just going to comment that so I don't forget later and wonder why I'm getting error messages. Copy all of this, jump into my command line. So I've navigated to the assets folder where that tile map graphic is in my command line structure. I will paste in this Tile-Extruder, tile width 16, tile height 16, spacing 1, input tile map, output tile map extruded. And now hit return. Done. If I do a quick ls to see what's there, we can see we have tile map and tile map extruded. So they are going to be very close in appearance. When I look at this, I still see that spacing gap in there, and it kind of looks the same. So going back into Photoshop, here's my original tile map, and now I've opened the extruded one. So right here at the top, I'm looking at that gray outline. It's 1 pixel large. Now I go here, and I can see that it is now 2. The brown, there's 2. So if I look over here, the brown went from 1 to 2. So in extruded, it now duplicated those. But if I look at my image size, I will see that my image size was 458 by 305. And going back into, let's go pull up the JSON here and see what's happening with that. So if I look in the JSON and scroll down here, I'm going to see 458, 305. That's the size of it. But if I go into the new extruded one and pull up an image size, I will see that my image size is 512 by 341. So that is not the same size. So 512 and 341. So I changed those two values. Now, the spacing between my tiles is no longer 1. That spacing is now 3 because I have the original 1 pixel gap plus I have the 2 extra pixels on either side. So if I change that spacing to 3, now if our project had no spacing between the tiles, so our spacing was 0, then our spacing now would be 2 because we add a 1 pixel border of repeating edge color to all sides of a tile. Now, this is going to take care of our spacing, but we also have to remember something else has occurred, which if I don't do this, we'll take a look real quick and see. So if I save into my project, and we can see our tile is not lining up. I mean, it kind of works, but things are off. And what we have to remember that's happening is in the extruded one, not only did we make the extra space around the tiles, we effectively put a 1 pixel margin all the way around on our project. So knowing that and looking here, I will see that my margin was 0 before because in the original tile map, there is no margin. If I go all the way into the corner here, we can see the tile starts out at 0, 0. But now, when I go here, I have that extra pixel all the way around. So I need to account for that. So change that to 1. And it's still not working because we also have to do one more thing, which is easy to forget, which is to change which tile map or which graphic we are working with. We're now using extruded. So if I save this, we can see it works, and like magic, there are no more lines happening in our game with the tile map. So thank you, Tile-Extruder, for for fixing this very annoying problem.